Hey, hi all. In this video, we will discuss about working with data in Apex. So this is the next series of Apex Developer Guide, where we will be covering how we can work with data in Apex. So let's start. So working with the subjects can be a custom or standard object, like it can be an account or it can be a student. So a subject types and a subject variable represents a row of data and can be declared in Apex using the API name of the object. For an example, if it is a standard account or standard objects, for an example account, so the account A, and so this is how we will declare a standard object name, because it will not be appended with underscore underscore C, because it's not a custom object. So this A is an instance of this particular new account. My custom object underscore underscore C defines that it's a custom object. C is the name of that instance. We are creating a new instance of that particular custom object. So this is how we can create a custom object. We can create an instance of that particular custom or standard object. Apex allows the use of generic subject abstract type to represent any object. The subject data type can be used in code that process different types of subjects. The new operator still requires a concrete subject type, so all instances are specific objects. So this is the new keyword. For example, a subject S equal to new account. It can be any subject. DML operations work on variables declared as generic subject data type, as well as with regular subjects. Subject variables are initialized to null. So this S is now containing null. If we define anything in this particular round bracket, then that particular value will be there in that particular account, but can be assigned a valid object reference with the new operator. For example, this developers can also specify initial field values with comma separated name equal to value pairs when instantiating a new subject. For example, account A equal to new, the name of the account will be Acme, billing city will be San Francisco. So this is how we can initialize some values to the particular A instance. In this, the value of A is equal to null. Okay. The next, accessing a subject fields. So now we know how to create an instance of that, or instance of that particular subject. Now how we can access the fields of that particular subject. The subject fields can be accessed or changed with simple dot notation. For example, account A equal to new account. So this will create a new instance of that account. A dot name equal to Acme. So we are assigning that value. Access the name, account name field, and assign it to Acme. System generated fields such as created by. So this is created by, or last modified date, last modified by, cannot be modified. If you try, the Apex runtime engine generates an error, because they are the system generated fields and they are known as the audit fields also. Formula field values and values for other fields that are read only for the context user cannot be changed. If there are two users, for an example A and B, if A user is system admin and B user is a normal sales user, okay, if B user is running a class and he is having read access, then that particular fields will not be visible. Okay, so the fields will not be visible to this particular user because he doesn't have that access on that particular field, read or write access. That's why the fields are not visible. If he has read access, no, only he will able to see that data. He will not be able to edit that data. But if A is the user, is the system admin, then he will have access to all the fields. So all the fields will be visible. He can do edit operation also. Okay. This is majorly defined on profiles or permission sets, where we assign to the particular user according to their role or according to their role hierarchy, like what access they require or what operations they do in that particular business. If you want to perform operations on an S object, it is recommended that you first convert it into a specific object. For example, account A equal to new account, name of that particular account will be Acme, billing city will be San Francisco. Insert that A. So now A will be inserted into database. sObject says equal to select ID name from account. So now we are getting data from account, but here we have defined sObject. Okay, where name equal to acme, limit equal to 1, ID, then we are trying to get the ID equal to s dot id. So this is a variable which we have created of type ID, and we are passing the ID of this particular s which we have retrieved now. So this ID we are passing. So s dot id will be this ID. Account equal to converted account equal to account dot s, because it's a generic s object, that's why we have to typecast it into account. Converted account dot name equal to acme. Then now we are creating an instance of account and typecasting the value of s into account, because where we have defined it with a name account. Okay, update converted account, contact sal equal to new contact, first name will be sal, account will be converted account, so it will link to this particular account. Okay, now next, using sObject fields. sObject fields can be initially set or not set, means unset fields are not the same as null or blank fields. When you perform a DML operation on an sObject, might be account or some custom object, you can change the a field that is set. You can't change unset fields. For an example, contact null first equal to new contact, last name is Cody, first name is null. First name is set to a literal value, so it counts as set. Okay, so we have defined a value for first name that is null, so it will be counted as null. It is not empty now, it is not blank. Contact unset first equal to new contact, last name as to first name is not set. In this case the first name is blank or null. Okay, so next is validating sObjects and fields. When Apex code is passed and validated, all sObjects and field references are validated against actual object and field names, and a pass time exception is thrown when an invalid name is used. If we use any different name while extracting data using SOQL, then this particular error or exception will happen. In addition, the Apex parser tracks the custom objects and fields that are used, both in the code syntax as well as in embedded SOQL and SOSL statements. The platform prevents user from making the following types of modifications when those changes cause Apex code to become invalid. Changing a field or object name. So for an example, you have created a name field and later on you want it to change it to first name. You change the API names in a class, wherever that particular field will be used, so it will impact that. Converting from one data type to another. And this, if you are changing a field name or an object name, if it is referenced in any of the Apex, it will not, means like it will not take place or it will not happen, because you will get an exception or you will get an error like this field has been referenced in this particular components, like it might be a Apex class or flow or any formula fields. So you have to first convert all that thing, then only you will be able to convert this. Converting from one data type to another, if you are converting a number into a currency or text into a date, in that manner. Deleting a field or object, if you are trying to delete an field on an object or an object, if it is referenced in anywhere in an Apex class or in a flow, then it will cause an error. Making certain organization-wide changes such as record sharing, field history tracking, and record types. In this also, you will face the same issue if you are making any changes to fields or a subject name. Next, we will talk about DML in Apex, so data manipulation language. So how DML works, single versus bulk DML operations. So it's a data manipulation language, as its name suggests, we are trying to manipulate the data. So that's why it is known as DML operations. You can perform DML operations either on a single object or in bulk on a list of subjects. Performing bulk DML operations is recommended way because it helps avoid hitting governor limits such as the DML limit So this is basic interview question also. DML limit of 150 statements per Apex transaction. So how many DML statements can be put in a particular transaction or in a class? So it's 150 statements. This limit is in place to ensure fair access to shared resources in the Lightning platform. So as we all know that it's a shared cloud or it's a shared resources which we are using. So every one or every instance is bound to some governor limit, so everyone can use it. There is no monopoly for that. Every organization want to use that particular shared resources. That's performing a DML operation on a list of subjects counts as one DML statement, not as one statement for each object. So this example performs DML calls on single sObjects which isn't efficient or which is inefficient. The for loop iterates over contacts for each contact if the department field matches a certain value. It sets a new value for the description field if the list contains more than 151 result like updates we are trying to make, then an exception will happen. So let's see an example. So we have list of, so this is we have created a list of contacts. Con list is the name, and then we are passing select department description from contact. So we are passing all the contacts because there is no where clause in this particular SOQL statement. So it is passing all the contacts in that particular org. It can be more than 150, it can less than 150. But for this example, we are taking like it can be more than 150. So for an example, it is 155. So in this, now this is a for each loop. In this we have the subject name, that is contact, because here we are getting the data from contact object. So we can pass this particular list which we have which we have which we have which we have from this particular SOQL statement. That's why we have to take this as contact. If we will type account or something, then it will cause an exception or error. So this is the name, bad con, it can be anything. Then we are passing this particular list. So it will iterate on all the list. Like if the list has 150 elements or 155 elements, then it will iterate through one, like it's starting from 1 to 155, it will iterate. If badcon.department equal to finance, then set it to new description. So that if the department of that particular contact is finance, then it will set the description of that particular contact to new description. Then what we are doing is not a good practice, since governor limits might be hit. So we are now updating that badcon. So here we are assigning this value, and then we are just updating this, and this whole process is happening into this for loops. So that's not a best practice, because if we have more than 150 records, then this particular update DML statement will run more than 150 times, and it will cause an exception because we have a limit. Oh, sorry, spelling mistake. It will cause an exception because we have a governor limit that only 150 DML statements can be there in one transaction. Okay. So now this example is modified version of the previous example that doesn't hit the governor limit. The DML operation is performed in bulk by calling update on a list of contacts. This code counts as one DML statement, which is far below the limit of 150. So what we are doing in this, so let's go to the previous example. In this, what we are doing, we are updating every badcon, okay, the list, and then we are just updating that particular badcon. Now what we will do is, we will just update this badcon description, and then we will add all these contacts, updated contacts, these contacts which we have now updated. We will add all this into a list of contact, and then we will just update this particular list. Okay. So in this example, as you can see, we have list of contact. In that we have updated list equal to new list of contacts, con list equal to select department from contacts. So all the contacts will return. There can be more than 150, so 155 for an example. For contact con, we are passing the con list. So this list we are passing here. If con dot department equal to finance, con dot description equal to new description. So it will set it to new description and it will add. So as we all know, in list we have one function that is dot add, list dot add. Then we can add the element. So the element is con here and the updated value of description is new description. So in this 155 contacts will be there. Okay. So there is no limit how much things we can add into a list. We can add a number of things in a particular list of that particular data type. So now we will add 155 in this particular list contacts. 155 contacts will be added to that list, and now we will just run. So this particular list we have now update list. In this list we have all the updated contacts. Now we are just running one DML statement, that is this. For an example, now we are running this one DML statement. In that we are mentioning the updated list. So this is the updated list which has 155 contacts, and now we are updating all the 155 contacts only once. So it will not hit the governance limits because this is only one DML operation per transaction. Okay. Next. So this is the best practice to follow if you want to do updates on means multiple records. Adding and retrieving data with DML records in the database can be inserted and manipulated through Apex directly using simple statements. The language in Apex that allows you to add and manage records in the database is the data manipulation language, in contrast to SOQL language, which is used for read operations, query records. If we want to query records, then we use that. DML is used for write operations. So if we have to manipulate anything, then we have to add something to it, or we have to edit something on it. Then only it's a manipulation. Before inserting or manipulating records, record data is created in memory as sObjects. The sObject data type is a generic data type and corresponds to the data type of the variable that will hold the record data. So as we know, it's a strongly typed language. So it is recommended, or it is the only way by which we can get the exact data without the exceptions. Like the data, if we want from contact, then the variable in which we want to store that should be of contact data type. Okay. There are specific data types subtyped from the sObject data type, which corresponds to data types of standard object records such as account or contact, and custom objects such as invoice statement __ C. Typically, you will work with this specific sObject data types, but sometimes when you don't know the type of sObject in advance, you can work with the generic sObject data type, and later on we can typecast into the particular sObject data type. If you don't know like from where we want to get data and how we have to how we have to do implement that particular business logic, and if that particular business logic we can implement on this object or not, or something like that, then you can store the all the things which you have written from particular sObject into a generic sObject, and then later on you can do your business logic according to your business need. This is an example of how you can create a new specific account sObject and assign it to a variable. Account equal to account, then account example is the name. In the previous example, the account referenced by variable A exists in the memory with the required name field. However, it is not persisted yet to the Lightning platform persistence layer. You need to call DML statements to persist sObjects to the database, because this is general statement which is stating that we have created account A. Now A, the name of that particular account is account example. So if we want to print A dot name, then it will throw in it will have null value, or it will be blank. Why? Because this is not inserted in the database as of now. We have just assigned that value. So to insert it into a database, we use this word or DML statement, that is insert A. Also, you can use DML to modify records that have already been inserted. Among the operations you can perform are record updates, deletions, restoring records from the recycle bin. After querying for records, you get sObject instances that you can modify and then persist the changes of. For This is an example of querying for an existing record that has been previously persisted, updating a couple of fields on that sObject representation of this record in memory, and then persisting this change to the database. So what they are trying to tell is, we have an account where the name of that particular account is Acme. We will just retrieve it from the database by using SOQL, and then we will update that, and then we will update. Then we will use that update DML statement. So let's see this example. So now we are querying existing account. So account A equal to select name industry from account where name is account example. So as we know, we have inserted this account example limit 1. Write the old values, the debug log before updating them. So we will use system.debug account name before update plus a.name. So as we all know, this A is the type which we will get from this particular SOQL. Name is account example, system.debug account industry before update. So the industry value is not set in this particular case. Modify the two fields on the subject. So a.name will be account of the day, a.industry will be technology. Persist the changes. So we are using this is now a update. So this is sorry. So this is now so this is now a DML state. So this is a update DML statement. Okay. Get a new copy of the account from the database. Again, we will use the same thing. So this query will be done, but before and after the difference, because we have used update operation. That's why now this query will return a value, because now we have set the name of the account to account of the day. So this is the updated name. That's why we are using this in a query. If we will try to look for this account example again in that particular query, there will be no value. DML statements versus database class methods. So there are some of the use cases in which you cannot use directly the DML statements. You have to go with the database class methods. Apex offers two ways to perform DML operations. One is using DML statements, which we have seen, like insert A's, and then it will insert all the A records or all the A record account records, or database class methods. This provides flexibility in how you perform data operations. DML statements are more straightforward to use and result in exceptions that you can handle in your code. This is an example of DML statement to insert a new record. So this is a simple example which we have seen previously also. So now this is a list of account list equal to new list of account. Then account list dot add. So this is a list. That's why we are using this function. Add new account. Account name will be Acme1. Then again new account. The name will be Acme2. Then we will just insert. So this insert is a DML statement. Okay. So it will now insert all the records which are there in this particular list. Now this is an equivalent example to the previous one, but it uses method of database class instead of DML Works. So the DML statements is straightforward. Insert A or insert that particular list or insert that particular record. It can be one record, it can be multiple records, but there is no check, like if if something happens wrong or if there is an exception to that, we cannot handle in that particular use case where we use DML statements directly, like insert A, insert that particular list. But with database classes, we can do that thing. So let's see list of list of account ACC list equal to list of accounts. Then account list dot add, then we are just doing the same thing, adding both the things. DML statement database dot save result. Save result is an array which will store the list which has been successfully inserted. Equal to database dot insert. So insert is now method or function of that particular class. So, sorry, this is a method of that particular database class. This is the name instance. Account list we are passing. So this list we are passing here and we are setting it to false. Why we are setting it to false? If some of the records fail due to some validation or due to something, then the then the all the records will not be inserted, but the records which meet the criteria will be inserted. The records which will not be inserted due to some validation failures or due to some other exceptions, they will not be inserted in that particular sObject or account. Iterate through each returned result. So for database.saveResult SR, because this is a list now, so SR list, if SR dot is success. So there, in this particular class we have this is success. If that is success is true, means that the records are successfully inserted in the database. If the is success is not true or it is set to something else, then the records are not inserted in the database. Operation was successful, so get the ID of the record that was processed. Okay, so system.debug successfully inserted account. So sr.get ID. So it will return the account IDs which are inserted. Else, if the operation is failed, then again for database.error. So error will hold all the records which are not been inserted due to some exceptions. So sr.getErrors will have all the failure or error records. System.debug, then we can get the status code, why this happened or what was the error message. In the error message or in the this particular get message, we will get like what was that validation rule, or if any flow is updating, or if any process builder. So that all thing we will get in this particular get message. What was that field name? So we can get by this get fields. Okay, so these are some of the methods of that particular database class. So this is all about the database class methods and DML statements. DML statements are straightforward: insert, update, delete that particular account or that particular list. When we are dealing with the database class methods, if we want to do partial insertion of the records or updation of the records or deletion of the records, then we have to use database class methods. If we want all or none, then we have to use the DML statements. One difference between two options is that by using the database class method, you can specify whether or not to allow for partial record processing. Okay. If errors are encountered, you can do so by passing an additional second boolean parameter. If you specify false for this parameter and if a record fails, the remainder of DML operations can still succeed. So it's a partial. If you want to do a partial operation on records, then you can use this. Also, instead of exceptions, a result object array is returned containing the status of each operation and any errors encountered. By default, this optional parameter is true, which means the same. Like it will go for inserting all the records or none of the records, like the DML statements, which means that if at least one sObject can't be processed, all remaining sObjects won't, and an exception will be thrown for the record that causes a failure. Create the list of sObjects to insert. List account acc list equal to new list account. So we are adding this two into that list. Acme1, Acme2, DML statement, DML save results, SR list, database.insert, account list. This is the boolean parameter. So this is the Boolean parameter which specifies if this particular parameter is set to true, then this particular DML class will run as DML statement. Okay. Now we will talk about DML operations. What are the different DML operations we can perform? Inserting and updating a record, as we already have seen, insert, update DML operations. Using DML, you can insert new records and commit them to the database. Similarly, you can update the field values of existing records. This example inserts 3 account records and updates an existing account record. First 3 account subjects are created and added to a list. An insert statement bulk inserts the list of accounts as an argument. Then the second account record is updated, the billing city is updated, and the update statement is called to persist the change in the database. So the whole and soul of the story is we can insert a particular account record, multiple account records using list, and then we can update the records whichever we want. For an example, in this is a type of list of account. This is an array of lists, the same ACCTS equal to new list of accounts. So this is same. You can define it like this. You can use it like this. For integer I equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. So this is a general for loop. Account equal to new account name, because name should be unique. That's why we are using acme plus I. So I will be acme 0, acme 1, acme 2, acme 2, acme 3. This condition will be false and it will skip this loop. Now we will add this to this particular list here. So this is a list of accounts and we will add all these accounts into that particular list. Now we will account update account to update, try insert accounts. Okay, update account acme 2 account to update. We will try to get all the records where billing city equal to San Francisco and acme 2 will be the name. Okay, so now we will just run this particular SOQL query in this thing, that is account to update. So now we have defined account and account to update is the name. We are using this particular account to update here. So this is that particular account update. Now update the billing city once we get that particular record, because we know acme 2 will be inserted. So this insert statement will insert that acme 2. We will get that acme 2 from here with this SOQL. Then account to update dot billing city, we can set it to New York. If you have not used billing city in SOQL, you will not be able to update that. So whatever field you want to update, you have to use into SOQL. Then only you will be able to do any manipulation to that particular field. And now if this particular insertion fails or any of the operation fails, then the catch DML exception, we will print the message which we are getting. If there is any validation rule which is restricting that a particular DML operations, then we can work on that. So this is how we can get the error message and we can work like what is the faulty condition in that particular use case. Inserting related records. So what do you mean by related records? As we all know, account and contacts are related. So for an example, I want to insert contact and I want to link that particular contact to an account. In that case, there is a field on contact, that is account ID. I will first insert the account, then account ID I will get, then I will insert contact, and in that contact I will set that particular account ID field value to that particular account which I have recently inserted in the database. Okay. So you can insert records related to existing records if a relationship has already been defined between the two objects, such as lookup or master detail relationship. A record is associated with a related record through a foreign key ID. For an example, when inserting a new contact, you can specify the contact's related account record by setting the value of the account ID field. This field is on contact object, and this field will relate this particular contact to that particular account. This example adds a contact to an account by setting the account ID field on the contact. Contact and account are linked through a lookup relationship. So this is the try block. In the try, we have account equal to new account. We have created a new account. The name of the account is SFDC account. We are now inserting that. Then only we will get the ID of that particular account. If we will not insert that into database, we will not get the ID. Once the account is inserted, the subject will be populated with an ID. Get this ID. To get that ID, I will define a variable ID. The data type of that variable will be ID. Account ID will be the name of the variable, and then account.id. So this account we have inserted will have one ID. So that ID we will get here. So this ID will be stored into ACCTID. Okay. Add a contact to this account. So contact con equal to new contact. First name is Joy, last name is Smith. Joy Smith, phone number, anything you can specify. Account ID equal to, so we are passing the ID of the record, which account record which is recently inserted. So this is the account ID which we are using here. So this is how this particular contact will be related to this particular account. So insert con, so contact will be inserted and it will be related to that particular account. Otherwise, if there is any what I can say exception in this particular try block, then this will run into catch and we will get the error message, and then we can work accordingly. Updating related records, you can how you are inserting or how you are creating update or inserting a related record. In the same manner, we can update the records. Fields on related records can't be updated with the same call to the DML operation and require a separate DML call. For example, if inserting a new contact, you can specify the contact's related account record by setting the value of the account ID field. However, you can or you cannot change the account's name without updating the account itself with a separate DML call. Yes, because they two are different objects. Similarly, when updating a contact, if you also want to update the contact's related account, you must make two DML calls. So let's see this example. Now we are query for contact which has been associated with an account. So for an example, contact, query contact, select account name, account.name. So account name from contact where first name equal to Joy and last name equal to Smith, limit 1. Update the contact's phone number. So this is the phone number which we have set. Phone number, okay. Update the related account industry, queried account.contact industry technology. Make two separate calls. This call is to update the contact's phone. Update queried contact. So the queried contact is the one which is holding direct value from contact. Now we want to update the account because we have set the account industry in this particular thing to technology. That's why we are update queried contact dot account. So what we have queried in this particular thing, there will be a account to this from where we are getting this particular thing, account dot name. So that's why queried contact dot account, then the related list will be updated or related accounts industry field will be updated. If there is any exception in the try block, then it will fall into this catch and we will get this exception. Deleting records after you persist records in the database, you can delete those records using the delete operation. Deleted records aren't deleted permanently from Salesforce, but they are placed in the recycle bin for 15 days from where they can be restored. So this can be it can be asked in an interview like where data goes once we delete a particular record. So once you delete that record, it will go to recycle bin according to your policies which you have set up. It will generic. It will stay for 15 days in that particular recycle bin. You can restore the records from that particular thing, recycle bin, if you want in that 15 days. Otherwise, it will be deleted on the 16th day. The following example deletes all accounts that are named.com. So we are getting the list of accounts here. So doomed accounts, select ID name from account where name is equal to .com. Try delete all the records of that particular all the account records. Catch DML exception, process exception here. So this is processing exceptions if any of the exception occurs in the try block. So if we are trying to delete any record, if there is any trigger which says that if that particular account is in this state or that stage, or if it contains .com, then it cannot be deleted, or there is any validation rule to it, then this particular all the records which are there will not be deleted. It will flow in, or it will go into catch because exception will occur. So now restoring deleted records. After you have deleted the records are placed in the recycle bin for 15 days, after which they are permanently deleted. While the records are still in the recycle bin, you can restore them using the undelete operation. If you accidentally deleted some records that you want to keep, restore them from the recycle bin. The following example undeletes an account named universal containers. The all rows keyword queries all rows for both top level and aggregate relationships, including deleted records and archive activities. Account equal to new account. So we are creating account, we are inserting new contact. Okay, so now we are deleting that contact. Now we are trying to delete that particular account. So we have deleted that account successfully. Account is saved. Accounts equal to select ID. This is name from account where name equal to this. All rows try. Undelete saved accounts. So this is how we can restore all the records where the name will be universal containers and all rows are mandatory, like to recover all the rows which have been deleted. If we will name something so that will be the case. So all rows keyword queries all rows for both top level and aggregate relationships. So if there is any existing relationship with that particular record, it will also query that data. So otherwise it will fall into this catch. So now we will talk about SOQL and SOSL queries. As we all know, SOQL is Salesforce Object Query Language. So and we have SOSL, that is Salesforce Object Search Language. In Salesforce, we have everything on an objects. That's why S stands for Salesforce, O is for objects. If we want to query objects and the objects are in Salesforce, then we have to use SOQL, that is Salesforce Object Query Language. Otherwise, it's a if we want to search for any term, if we want to search for anything in the Salesforce, then we can use Salesforce Object Search Language. That means we are searching on Salesforce objects. SOQL means we are querying on Salesforce objects. So the link is in the description. We have a dedicated videos for SOQL, SOSL, and what is the difference between SOQL and SOSL. These are the most or frequently asked questions in the interview about SOQL, SOSL. What is the limit? What are the governor limits? How you will use SOQL, dynamic SOQL, static SOQL, or static query, dynamic queries in Apex. So the link is in the description. You can watch.